Welcome to the Patriot Tech Tip series. My name is Trey, and this is a series that we've started with one simple goal in mind. It's to pull back the curtain on the trades. Whether it's HVAC or electrical, these systems are the heartbeat of your home. But for most people, they are a total mystery, and we want to change that. We believe that an educated customer is a happy customer. So in this series, I'm sitting down with our top technicians and managers to give you the honest, practical advice. We want to help you understand how your homes work and show you how to prevent expensive breakdowns and help keep your family safe and comfortable right here in East Texas. Today, I'm joined by Jeffrey, one of our top HVAC technicians, and we're going over air quality. Jeffrey, I was reading the other day, our generation has been deemed the indoor generation, which makes sense. We do spend a lot of time indoors, but the stat that I saw said that we spend 80 to 90% of our time indoors. Mm-hmm. Absolutely crazy to me. You know, and when it comes to air quality, my assumption has always been that being inside, the air quality is better than it is outside. You've got manufacturing, your byproducts, your pollutions outside. You come inside, you would assume your air quality is going to be the same, but obviously by having this conversation with you, I'm assuming that's not the case.
I mean, it depends on where you're living. If you're living right next to, a big factory,
right.
But generally, it's actually the opposite because the air outside is actually purified by, the sun and different other, natural processes. But the air inside of our homes sometimes is a lot more polluted than we think just because it's just recycled air. It's just air that is constantly recycled and recirculated. So it's not necessarily being purified. It's just being recirculated.
That makes sense. So I hear this acronym IAQ thrown around all the time in the industry. You know, what exactly is IAQ and what does it mean for a homeowner?
So it just stands for indoor air quality. Now, when it comes to that, it's how clean is your air, how healthy is your air, because when it comes to what's inside of our homes, you have dust, you have pollen, you have different things like that. And a lot of times these can lead to different things like asthma and different other, pulmonary, effects for things like that. So that's why you want to, be conscious of what the quality of the air that you're breathing is.
Makes sense. So how do we get rid of it?
Well, I mean, that's where inside of HVAC, there is a whole branch, which is IAQ or indoor air quality products. So there's different kinds of ways to address the different, pollutants inside of a home when it comes to maybe improved filtration or when it comes to even UV bulbs and things like that to treat bacteria and things that might be in the airstream. And it's important to do your research on that because not every single IAQ product is created equally.
Right, that makes sense. Before we went live here and started, we were talking about, you made the example of a water filter, right? And being comparable to IAQ. But I guess my main question to you is here, we have filters on our systems, no?
Well, yes, but when it comes to that, and we have a tech tip on filtration, but generally the air filter that you have in your home on your HVAC system, it can catch, certain particles and things like that. But when you upgrade to like maybe a HEPA filter, then those can possibly adversely affect the function of your system.
Right.
So an IAQ filter, for example, would be something that not only can catch particles maybe 97% better than a normal air filter, but doesn't adversely affect the airflow or put a strain on the system itself.
How does it go about doing that?
Well, so the product that we use, they're made by a company called Dynamic. And so what we have is an electronic air filter that is basically carbon media. So that carbon media is positively and negatively charged so that it's kind of like a magnet for dust and allergens and particles up to, I think it's like 0.3 microns, which is like smaller than a human hair.
Gotcha.
So basically anything that is going, it's going to get grabbed and pulled out of the airstream so it's not recirculating in the home.
What is that going to take care of all these types of pollutants that you're talking about?
Well, it'll take care of particles, but you also have like VOCs, which is it's a acronym for volatile organic compounds. So that's going to be like cooking odors. It's going to be like if you have, chemical odors and things like that, paint smells, if you just had your home painted or, just things that are used in manufacturing in our homes that we breathe in. So with that, you would need to have, what we have is a UV bulb that is a UVV bulb. And that UVV.
Okay.
So that bulb, the UV light from that bulb helps to get rid of those kind of, smells and things and odors.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to bacteria and, things like that, that's going to be a different kind of UV bulb. It's a UVC bulb. So with that, that's what it's used to. And I might be getting the two mixed up, but
Gotcha.
the idea is that you're wanting to treat particles, you want to treat the odors and the VOCs, and you also want to treat things like bacteria, molds, things like that.
So you've got three primary types of particulates that you've got to fight for
exactly.
at that point. That makes sense. Being here in East Texas, is there any one of these three that are more prevalent or needs to be taken care of more or affect our systems more often?
Well, one thing when it comes to that, which I kind of wanted to discuss, is because a lot of people might hear HVAC.
Mm-hmm.
So what that actually stands for, it stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And in the industry, one of the forgotten parts of it is the ventilation part.
Right.
So like we said, sometimes the outdoor air is actually cleaner than indoor air. So if you want cleaner air, you can bring in outdoor air, but is that air going to be conditioned? Is it going to be at the right temperature? Is it going to be? So that's where you have to ventilate, not just let air in, but ventilation is basically controlling how much air from outside is brought in so that you can manage the temperature and also the humidity. Because especially here in East Texas, like we said, we have a lot of humidity. We can have very high humidity. And with high humidity and the right conditions, you can have mold. And, of course, that's very, a big health hazard. So
Gotcha. So are there any of these types of IAQ products that you would recommend if somebody's going to start with one single product? Is there one single product you would recommend?
Generally, it depends on what you want.
Gotcha.
I usually kind of think of it as a process to get to, the cleanest air that you can have.
Right.
So one part is starting with ventilation. It's actually part of code now, especially for spray foam homes that are being constructed, to have a fresh air ventilation system. So you want to be able to bring in some fresh air, which is helping to make sure that the air that's being recirculated is kind of freshened up every so often.
Right.
So that's going to be one process of that, and you want to control it, so that's why you have to have a controller for that. And then as you move into it, I usually would suggest looking into a better air filter, because that air filter, like we said, it doesn't just protect the quality of your air, but it also protects your system. So having a good air filter that's stopping dust from being circulated is going to make it to where you don't even have to get your ducts clean because dust's not getting in there.
Okay.
So that's, kind of the next step. And then if you're needing more, looking into some of the UV bulbs and things like that.
Okay. Are there people who would benefit from this more than others?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times people who suffer with like allergies and things like that, they're going to benefit the most from that, because surprisingly, you could have a situation where it's not necessarily pollen or things, but pollutants inside of the home that's contributing to that. And especially you go to sleep in your home and you're breathing, 8 hours a night, or if you get, that much sleep.
Right. Yeah.
But,
yeah.
So if you have clean air, it's going to affect, even waking up in the morning where you're not going to have, the sinus problems and things like that.
Gotcha. So it's just something that would help out with, say, like pet dander, that kind of small stuff?
Definitely, yeah.
Great. And then my understanding, like those with asthma, maybe some children, that would probably be your primary target for these types of products.
Children and the elderly, because, of course, their breathing systems are not as strong as, when you're,
an adult.
Exactly.
Yep,
so
older.
you want to make sure they're protected.
Great. Fantastic. Well, I think we've hit all the key points here, Jeffrey.
Yep.
I really appreciate you coming by and helping out with this. And then thank you for stopping in and listening. If you have any questions about IAQ, you can always give us a call at 903-954-2525. I hope you got a little bit out of this. If you want to go ahead and have an appointment set up with us, you can hit that link down below. Go straight to our website at patriotetx.com. You can schedule an appointment there, get us out, and get a free quote for IAQ.